Hey, Dave, guess what?
It's time. It's time for a chat with Father Matt Frisbee. Lots going on in the world of sports. Good morning, Father Matt.
Good morning, Dave and Ron and all our listeners. Good to be with you. You're right, there's a lot going on. We're going to talk mostly basketball, but I think we need to talk football just really briefly here, especially for all of our Ohio State and Michigan fans. As, you know, the next step, the next story in the rivalry happened this past week as the longtime running back coach for Ohio State, Tony Alford, left and became the running back coach at Michigan. So just, you know, an added layer into the rivalry.
Yeah, I'll say.
Yeah, nothing like it since Benedict Arnold, as far as I can tell. Like, this is crazy. No,
Yeah.
God bless him. I hope he does well there. But, man, what a shock.
Yeah, indeed. And all sorts of speculation. No one really knows the reason for it. I'm sure someday we will, but right now we don't. But speaking of Ohio State and Michigan, we'll go to basketball because we saw Michigan last week fired their basketball coach, Juwan Howard. Not a good year for the Wolverines, went 8-24. And Ohio State elevated. They promoted their interim basketball coach, Jake Diebler, now the full-time permanent head coach.
You have to say he's done well since he took the interim position.
Absolutely. They closed out the end of the year. I think they went 4-1. Looked good in the Big Ten tournament. Had a chance to beat Illinois in the quarterfinals, I think it was. A lot of people, I didn't see the game, but a lot of people would say huge foul discrepancy. 27 fouls against Ohio State, only 13 called against Illinois. And in a 3-point loss, that very much could have been the difference.
Amen. And, of course, you're all ready for, all the March Madness to begin.
Oh, yeah. So that's the big thing there, too, is that ultimately we get into, and this is where we really talk basketball. Who's going to win? Someone asked me this, actually, at the Faithful Warriors banquet there last Thursday. Pat Odie Murray asked me who I thought was going to win the entire tournament. I told her, I don't know. And unfortunately, normally the team you think is going to win usually doesn't. So I tend to think UConn, they dominated last year's tournament. They've been really good all year long. I'm in a bracket, I'm in a league or whatever with someone. I picked UConn to win it all, but that probably means they won't.
Well, and I know Pat's got $50 burning a hole in her pocket, and she just wanted to place a bet. But maybe if she's listening this morning, now she has your answer. UConn.
Well, I told her UConn last Thursday, too. But, who knows? We've got, those one seeds. Purdue, Purdue's looking for a little bit of revenge. I think the last few years they've been a 1 or 2 seed, and they've lost in the first weekend these last 2 years. Especially last year, I think they lost to a 15 seed or a 16 seed. I don't remember who they played. And they've got that huge tall guy, like 7'4", whatever, Zach Edey, which presents problems to guard, but they have not been able to get very far. So for the Big Ten and Purdue, can they get out of that first weekend as a 1 seed? How far are they going to go? UConn, returning champs. You've got North Carolina and Houston, your other 1 seed. So we'll see. Now, Houston and North Carolina State are in the same bracket. If we go back to 1983, the great NC State team that was led by Jim Valvano, will we see a little bit of a repeat there? Because NC State, no one expected to get into the tournament, but they won the ACC tournament to get in it.
Yeah, it's going to be, and remember, 1s and 2s are not safe. After last year, we saw being a 1 seed or a 2 seed isn't an automatic for anything.
No, it's not. Now, they still, some of these teams, they've got a pretty good chance at winning that first one if you're a 1 or 2 seed, but it isn't automatic anymore. But I really like UConn. They are tough, and they've really beat up Marquette, the 2 seed. They beat them up a couple times this year in the Big East. So we'll see. That's why they play these games. You survive and advance if you win, but if you lose, there's no do-overs. That's kind of the beauty and the madness of the NCAA tournament.
That's what makes it pretty exciting. And, of course, the first 4 games today and tomorrow in Dayton, and then on from there. So looking forward to it, I think. I don't watch basketball or listen to it much, but generally I'll catch some of these games because, let's face it, everybody's playing at their best.
And we'd be remiss, Father, if we didn't talk
right.
about the women's side of this. There's some exciting stuff going on in the NCAA tournament on the women's side, particularly for the Buckeyes.
Yeah, that's right. I think, now I haven't paid attention to it, I'm going to admit right there, but I believe they're a 2 seed.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, Iowa, led by Caitlin Clark, a 1 seed. The Buckeyes are a 2 seed. They really had an inexplicable loss in the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah.
The Lady Buckeyes did. And so we'll see. They're a 2 seed. That means, that sets them up pretty well. I think in the women's side of things, 1s and 2 seeds are pretty well protected through the first couple rounds. If they get closer, down to Sweet 16, Elite 8, that's where, things get a little more interesting. So we'll find out. Hopefully the Lady Buckeyes had a 15-game win streak. Maybe they can replicate that here.
There you go. Love that. All right, Father Matt, always look forward to picking your brain on sports because you're the smartest man I know about sports, so thank you.
Well, Ron, you don't know too many smart guys about sports, then.
Father Matt Frisbee.